actually just about to start our fiscal year for next year, starting in April, and there's certainly been a shift, I would say, in more traditional media, TV, print, radio, into the digital and social space. And I think a lot of that actually in our case is driven from our higher executives up in terms of lead management, having a stronger presence on Facebook, Twitter, and of course, I think kind of elevating our presence in the digital space from traditional online banners and whatnot to more content generation. I don't necessarily think that funds are being taken from TV and print, the more traditional medium, but I guess any incremental dollars that we get invested into the digital and social spaces. I think what we've been doing over the last few years is going from, your typical produced TV spot where you go out and work with a production company and a director in LA to stuff that's maybe a little bit more cheaper, on the fly, humorous, kind of thinking outside the box, and we don't, you don't need to throw it up on network TV. It goes on YouTube or something like that. It might get 1 million or 2 million hits, and so we're producing a lot more content than we used to, and I think in a little bit more kind of grittier manner. A lot of the networks that we do work with, and a lot of the sites that we do work with are, between media integrations, we've I think moved a lot in that direction and had some much better ideas in terms of how to integrate product in a more natural, organic way on certain programming that fits our demographics. We've also done, some of our, in the automotive industry, it's very typical to have, like sales events. So automotive companies have 2 or 3 sales events a year. And we've done a lot more in an area like a sales event where you would imagine it's traditional dealers kind of yelling and selling. I think we've taken a different approach to that, and also found interesting ways to introduce like a Facebook into it to raise awareness of it or bring more people into the fold without going into like a long diatribe of what the campaign was. That's kind of the high level. I think we've taken some probably less costly approaches in terms of getting our new content out there. We produced a couple videos about 2 years ago to launch 2 new vehicles, and it was kind of they're vehicles that are very enthusiast focused, so they don't require a ton of media support, and simply putting it on YouTube, seeding it to blogs, I think was actually a really effective way, and then that gets picked up by these other blog sites that have thousands or millions of followers and whatnot, and then it kind of just spreads from there. That I think is probably the last example that we had that is kind of a piece that went viral, so to speak. I don't think the biggest challenge for us would be metrics. For us, the nature of the business, I think, is changing so quickly, where you have traditional medium and non-traditional in the digital and social space, and so the way our company's set up is that they're 2 separate entities, but in reality, when you're launching a campaign, all those elements live together. So it's figuring out who's in charge of what, who makes the strategic decisions in what area, because it's all kind of impacting one another. Just from a business standpoint in the automotive industry, we're launching new cars with less money, which is or the same amount of money. I don't know if that's typical of the other automotive manufacturers, but that's certainly our case. We have relatively flat budgets.